Good afternoon, bon après-midi, Zin Dobre.
Dzień dobry.
Warm welcome to the 55th International Film Festival of India. I am Nayan, and we are pleased to have with us cast and crew of a Canadian film, Bassima's Boom, and a Polish film, Loonies. I welcome you all on behalf of whole IFFI team. I wish to let you know that this press conference is being live streamed so that our friends in media and our other film lovers can also view this remotely.
Nice.
Today, we have amongst us Babek Alias. He is director and actor of the film Bassima's Boom.
Thank you. Thank you.
Maxine Denise. She is the actress of the film and she has played the role of Bassima. Nicole Lagarde. She is the actress of the film. I welcome you all. And from the film Loonies, we have lead actress Alicia Statsevich and actor Lech Matskevich. I wish to let you know that they are husband and wife.
No.
Welcome once again. We have posters of this film that are being displayed on the TV screens, and I will briefly introduce about the films to our audience now. In the film Loonies, Eric and Karolka are a pair of dreamers. Upon the release from prison, they opt to forge a new law-abiding life in the tranquility of nature to avoid further conflict with the law. Eric is also determined to secure happiness for his young daughter, Zisika, whom he retrieves from her grandfather. Together with Karolka, they embark on a journey across the Poland. Complications arises when Karolka falls seriously ill, and the only hope for her recovery lies in an expensive treatment which they cannot afford. About the film Bassima's Womb, when her illegal husband is deported from Canada, Bassima, a young Syrian woman, finds herself in a difficult situation both socially and financially. Desperately looking for a way to bring her husband back, she agrees to become a surrogate mother in exchange for a false passport. However, she soon finds out that she is already pregnant and must give up her own child. So these are the tragic story of this film, both of this film.
Traumatic choice.
And now I'll start with Bassima's Womb, the director and actor, for his opening remarks about film.
So what is the question? Sorry.
Opening remarks about your film, what the story is, the direction, your role, your other cast. You can talk about the film.
Yeah. Listen. I had. I saw a documentary.
Yes.
Actually, it was in India, and showing that there are many women that are actually doing that. It means getting pregnant and giving their babies.
Yeah.
And that's the base actually of my movie. So it gives me an idea to build something. And since we have lots of immigrants in Canada, it's a very mixed society. I said maybe I can come up with a story that would say, and it was during the war in Syria, so I based it in Canada, but Syrian couple that comes here, and this is how the story came out.
Thank you. Maxine Denise, your role about in the film and the emotion you felt in the film while doing this immigrant's role. Can you please talk about it?
Yeah, I mean, you heard it from the synopsis. It's definitely an intense story. It's painful at times for sure. And I think playing Bassima as a young woman, the way I saw it from my point of view, and I mean everybody's point of view is their own, but from my side, it was very much. I sort of saw this girl as a young woman who wants a lot. And I think that's something a lot of women can relate to, being someone with hopes and desires. And so I think the way I played this girl was very much putting her in the shoes of any other girl. She's not necessarily illegal. She's not, someone foreign. She's not, this like extra creature. I just looked at her as like any other young woman going through any other young woman's story. So I think when you go into something like that and you play a character like that, you really get to experience different things in terms of like where your heart goes. So that was really how I dived into Bassima.
Thank you. Nicole,
Yes,
about your role and your idea about the film, the story.
absolutely. First, I'd like to say about the film that I really think it's one woman, two women's journey. It's a personal journey, whether it touches the migration, the woman's right situation. It's really one story. There's many other stories like that. It's not a judgment of any sorts. I think it's just a personal journey. And as for my character, José, that I actually adore, who has so many scars and a desire to repair, to repair, absolutely, because I had the fortune actually to play the antagonist, really a multi-layer character, and not trying to please. That was really important for me, but really to work at what is she aiming for, what's her objective, that are very personal. And of course, that touched me deeply as she was aiming to make sure her sister gets a baby. And so that was what was really dearing to her heart. I love to transform when I go on set. I work very hard prior to be available when I meet the director and my partners. And that's my craft.
Thank you. Lake, opening remarks about your film.
Well, I'm here more or less on behalf of Jan Jakub Kolski, who's the director and the producer of the film. And the film Loonies, which is starring this lovely lady sitting on my left, Alicja Stasiewicz, I call it an affirmation of love, generally speaking. Two outcasts coming out of prison who try to fit into the world that is not that friendly around them, and set off on a journey in a stolen car, of course, on a journey through their lives and through Poland, trying to find the new beginning, which is not really coming because the character of Karolka falls very ill with cancer, bone cancer, marrow cancer, and therefore the other character, her husband, has to set off on another journey to find finances to finance her curation. Generally speaking, it is about love. It is about people who are being spat out about society, but nevertheless find that most important force in our lives, which is love.
Alicia,
Yep.
about your role and about your views on the film.
Okay, so there are so many details which are hard to translate in my head, so I will use my Polish language and Lech will translate, if you don't mind. Rola Karolki. To jest jakby to była hollywoodzka przygoda, dlatego że do przygotowania się do tej roli musiałam się bardzo zmienić fizycznie, czyli obciąć włosy i schudnąć i nauczyć się zachowań bardzo chorej osoby.
So it was a Hollywood-like adventure for Alicja, which is doesn't happen very often in Polish cinema. She had to change quite dramatically physically, apart from cutting her hair very short for the prison sequence, and afterwards she had to lose a lot of weight and change her figure altogether, plus go through the stages of sickness, which is something that you don't do very often in small budget movies when you prepare. So that was the first experience like that for Alicja.
I każda scena, którą gra Karolka, jest bardzo trudna, bo to są sceny, kiedy wychodzi z więzienia, kiedy jest nieszczęśliwa, kiedy jest zdradzona, kiedy jest chora i boryka się ze swoimi problemami zdrowotnymi.
And basically all the scenes that Karolka is involved in are very highly charged emotionally. They are very difficult, therefore, because it's like leaving the prison, learning that she's sick, being betrayed by her husband, and learning that her husband has a child from the former. It's like one after another, she discovers bad things about her life, and she said that that journey was quite taxing.
Yeah.
Ale tak naprawdę, że to jest wspaniała postać i czasami ludzie po projekcji mówią, że ona jest niedobra albo że ciężko lubić, ale mi się wydaje, że to jest wspaniała, wrażliwa, delikatna, kochana dziewczyna, która jest postawiona w takiej życiowej, trudnej sytuacji.
And Alicia learned to love Karolka, the character of Karolka, and she thinks she's a very lovable character, even though sometimes after the film projections and in interviews, people say she's hard to like because she's life has toughened her, and she has to be tough in order to survive. But otherwise, she's very sensible, she's fantastic, and she's beautiful.
I didn't
Thank
say
you,
beautiful.
thank
I didn't say so.
Now I have two questions regarding the music of the film for the both of the film. First, I will ask Babek, why there is no music in this film?
This is a good question. I don't know. I just feel that when I put music in my movies, actually it's my second feature film. The first one didn't have music also.
Okay.
I kind of tend to hide something. It's like I'm hiding, or I'm trying to manipulate the audience, and this is something I don't want to do. So far, I wasn't successful into putting music in my movies. I'm trying with the next one, at least to try. But this manipulation of the audience with music, say, oh, this is where you have to cry, and this is where you have to. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to do it to successfully do
It's
it.
not
so-
unfortunately.
Yeah.
I
I
think
don't know
it's
if
an
it-
artistic choice.
Yeah, maybe it's an artistic choice.
think so.
but,
And I think it
And
takes a lot of
ethical, I would
courage
say,
to do.
ethical
Yeah.
choice too.
Yeah, I mean, it is easier to put music and say this is how the flow of the story is going.
Mhm,
I think
mhm.
it's pushing the boundaries a little bit when you try something like that. I mean, that's what film is about.
Yeah, but at the same time, it has a kind of austerity, right?
Exactly.
Because you ask the audience to be patient enough, and sometimes music and things help. I realize myself, when I watch things, but at the same time, it's I don't know, it's a trick that I don't want to use, or wasn't successful to use it so far.
I'd like to add though,
Yeah,
and I
please.
would love to see your film if it's in the same idea of not having this background of music. First, it takes a lot of courage today, where everything is already a certain way. But I think watching myself in that film with no music,
Yeah.
it was creating a tension that actually was really beneficial for the characters, which I didn't thought at the beginning. I was so scared, but it does create a tension, and I salute that.
Mhm.
That's actually very good, Babek, because you are true to yourself, true to the audience, and you bring kind of authenticity. That's a very nice thing, actually.
I try. Yeah, we are responsible, right?
Yeah.
In front of our audience. Yeah, definitely.
And Lake, can you talk about the lyrics of the song in your movie?
In Jan, yeah. Jan's film, Jan Kolski, who directed the film, wrote all the lyrics for the songs, so they are integral part of the film. Quite opposite to what you've done, he decided that music is important. He chose very unusual choice for his. I know his work from the very beginning, and he never used rap music. And this time round, he wrote his own lyrics, and he asked a specific performer to perform the songs for the film, and they complement the story. And the main characters are singing the song, so
Oh,
they
cute.
they're going. Well, they are off screen, of course. They don't sing on screen, but we hear their voices. He is singing the songs that add to the story, complement the story. It's about their emotional state at that very moment, which sometimes you think that it's a music narration kind of thing. It's a tricky device to push the plot forward, but it does work, I believe. And it's combined at the same time with a very specific camera work, because usually they come in when they use this I was a special camera tested brought from South Korea, which was shooting one day that translated into 1 minute of film time, and it was this slow motion. You think it was sped up time, and it was quite tricky. Cam lapse. Time lapse. You see, so you saw the characters acting in a normal time, but around them the world was going 24 hours, and it was tricky. And that's when we had to we heard their voices singing. Yeah.
Thank you. Maxine, why this film is bilingual in French and Arabic?
Yeah, I mean, speaking of why, it would be him. He would know the why he chose to do that. But in terms of tackling a bilingual film, I think it was really fun because I'm quadrilingual. I speak 4 languages, and getting a chance to speak in French and in Arabic in this movie. I mean, I grew up with those languages, and so I found it really cool to be able to play a character, living in Canada that's also Middle Eastern. So I got to really play with 2 sides of my cultures and mix them into this girl, and I thought that was really, really fun. And I got to learn a different accent because I speak with a Lebanese accent in Arabic, and she was Syrian, so that was really great. And I think it's a story that's important to be told because in Montreal and in many countries, I mean, here included, there are so many languages, so many. And so to be able to make movies nowadays that aren't just one language because of the change in the cinema world where you're able to sort of push those boundaries a little bit more, you can finally tell stories that are very real like that, where you've got more than one language in it. We've even got a couple sentences in English. So it's technically 3 languages are mentioned in this movie. And I think that's really great.
I just want
Yeah, please.
I just want to add that it was really a challenge to find her. You have to understand that I was looking for somebody who speaks Arabic fluently and French. Basically, the person was looking for many months. I had 7 offers only. And among those 7 actresses, 4 of them were like beginners. 2 of them was second generation immigrants, so they hardly, speak correctly Arabic. So you see the challenge, and I feel really, really lucky to have found her. Really lucky.
With this, now I'll open the question for the floor. You can ask question to the cast and crew of the films. Please.
Hi, Babek.
Hi.
Hi, Babek. You, on the opening note, you said that you have been inspired by the Indian incidents
Yes.
of surrogacy.
Yes.
So, did you happen to see a film called Mimi because it was based on surrogacy? It's an Indian film.
Maybe I saw this one many years ago, right?
No,
Don't say
This is a
recent.
very recent
No,
film,
I
like
haven't
2
seen.
years
No,
back.
no, then.
Okay.
No, many, right?
Mimi.
Okay.
M-I-M-I.
M-I, Mimi.
Yeah.
I
And
will
it's a
see her.
movie, like not a documentary. It's
a movie. It's a
okay.
feature, and it's
I will
about a young girl, like one of the top actresses in India, and she
Okay.
plays the surrogate.
Oh, I'd love to check it out.
I will definitely check it out.
Okay,
I will
thank you.
definitely. Yes.
So, Maxine, how difficult it was for you to prepare for the role?
Honestly, there were a lot of things that were challenging. First of all, this was my first French movie. I am primarily an English actress, so it was definitely a challenge to do an entire film in French. And adding the fact that I had to take on a Syrian accent. So it was like my brain was in a lot of places. I would put it that way. And it was -30 in Canada. Like there was so many things that were going on. It was a lot. And it was interesting because this was my second film I've ever done. And so my other one was a lot more sort of, I want to say, the typical way of making a movie. Whereas this one was a lot more avant-garde in a way. Like Babek really taught me to slow down, take a different approach to being an actor, which was really interesting to me. So I think what I did to prepare for the character was just let myself trust that I would be able to play this on set, because there were so many factors that if I could feel it, I was like, if I let anything hit me, nothing would absorb. I wouldn't be able to play this character. So I started to look at it like I'm like water. So it's like anything that comes, I got to just take it in and let it go. And so I think the pre-prep was just really studying the script and what it's like. I watched a few documentaries on the war in Syria. I watched a few documentaries on being surrogate mothers. I did a little bit of that research, but in terms of like the emotionality, I just had to trust myself. I think that's where I went with it. And it was great to be able to work with great actors like Nico and even all the other actors in the film. They were really, really strong. So it was easy for me to just, okay, well, I can just listen and just do what I'm doing by listening to what they're giving me. So that always helps. Yeah.
I also wanted to add something about Nico, because in Quebec, of course, being a white woman, French, it's you have many offers, and I choose them very differently. For Nico, I went really for her heart, and I didn't, I didn't ask Nico, to play something, and we had this conversation, and I said to my wife, I want her, and that's it, and actually it paid off, right, during the filming, because I said, okay, this is she was able to give all the emotion. Quite, I don't know if it was easy, but at least I got what I wanted.
Any other question? Yeah, please.
So, Nicole, the film is based on her character, Maxine's character.
Yeah.
In India, we have actresses like not taking up the secondary role.
Oh.
So, how was it for you as an actress to be a part of this movie, and what was your approach?
Well, I did work in the laundromat for a few days. And that was quite funny. Then you go over it and you understand it's not going to be the same and you have to make your own. But I like to do those kind of things. I didn't approach it as a second role. For me, she unraveled the story as she provokes things. She needs something and she'll get it. So any role actually I approach like that. I don't mind. I like to do my craft. So this is what I do. Yeah, I do work a lot ahead. One thing I'd love to say is in Montreal or in Quebec, when we film, it's around 21 days. So the reality on set is super fast.
Yeah.
So that's why I prep a lot. So I have all those options when I come on stage. 21 days, so anything can happen on the set, right?
I've done a
Super
13-day set,
13 days.
full feature film as lead. They push.
Yeah, so that brings the reality of what you're capable of giving on set in a snapshot.
Yep.
If there's a light problem, it's gonna, it's time ticking.
And then it takes from your takes.
Yes.
So it's like if there's an external problem, the actors somewhat suffer because it's like we get 1 or 2 takes, and if you're not on point in those 1 or 2 takes, you suffer.
Yeah.
The movie when it's out, they're not like there must have been a lighting problem and the time was bad and their scheduling was off, so that's why they did a bad job. Like you don't see that stuff. It's all behind the scenes. You only see what's been put in the cinema, in the film. So.
And I would add on that in Babek's process, he really valued one takes, one shot, no counterpoint, which created also a lot of tension for us. Like, okay, this is going to happen now, and we'll live with it. So that was also provoking and interesting for us. Like, there's no coming back. You do a take, you're holding the counter, and not going to get your second shot, so you got to give it now. So that's very
plus the winter, of course.
Yes.
This was also a challenge, right? Especially in Canada, so you have less daylight and things.
Yeah, true.
But it's a controlled chaos, basically. Every shooting is controlled.
I understand you had some more time for rehearsals. You had to spend some time rehearsing the shots.
not much.
Not much.
Not really.
No.
A bit before filming, we had like 2-3 days where we kind of just practiced some scenes
I
together.
remember we had one encounter, the 3 of us.
Was it just
together.
one?
Yeah.
Oh, it might have been just one. I might be
So-
mixing my
Yeah,
movies.
no, there weren't that many.
That was it.
Yeah, and then we would rehearse the scene before shooting a couple times, so even camera would know. Like that's very basic stuff, just basic run through the scene. But it was a bit of on the day sort of troubleshooting and figuring out. I think.
Yeah.
I did
Any other
like
question
guerrilla
from the
shooting, but
audience?
There was a guerrilla
Right, please.
shooting, so it's completely different. But then you don't have a second chance.
Yeah, exactly.
Congratulations to all of you on your films. My question is to Alicia. So you spoke about your fondness for the character you've played for Karolka. And you spoke about the qualities that endeared the character to you, irrespective of the audience viewpoints. So I wanted to know what does it take emotionally to sort of interweave your emotions with the character to play it, and how difficult then does it get to extricate yourself from that, especially for a movie which is intense on so many levels and deals with difficult subject matter, which is not light in any way. What is the kind of emotional preparation that you go through, and the outcome of it once the shooting is done and you have to step out?
Okej. Czyli że jakby jak się przygotowałam do tego, że są takie ciężkie emocje?
Jak z tego wychodzisz? Jaka jest cena?
Okej. To wydaje mi się, że bardzo dużą rzeczą jest to, że w Polsce mamy etaty w teatrze i nie wiem, jak jest na całym świecie. Wiem, że nie wszędzie tak jest, albo może wyjątkowo to jest w Polsce, albo w krajach Europy Wschodniej, że mamy etaty w teatrze i jestem bardzo dobrze przygotowaną aktorką teatralną i pracuję już na etacie od 11 lat i potrafię wchodzić i wychodzić ze swojej roli bardzo dobrze, bo robię to codziennie prawie.
I mean, the first thing which is worth knowing is that in Poland, the theatrical system is such as we have full-time jobs as actors performing 6 nights a week all year long. So we do work as actors, if we are actors, all the time. And therefore, because it's a repertory theater, we do have, let's say, 10 shows in ourselves that we perform, or more, that we have to perform throughout the season. The season is a full year. So every weekend, every week you change the part, you play a different part, you come back. So that prepares you very well to the situation in which you have to jump into the role and get out of it. And so Alicia says, I've been very well prepared, being for the 11th year running the full-time actress with the theater company. That prepared her really well into delving into the character and getting out of it. So, but teraz ocenię.
I to, że miałam możliwość jakby zrobienia nie czegoś podobnego, ale że grałam rolę, która też była dla mnie bardzo trudna. To był monodram, który sama sobie wybrałam i który grałam i który nauczył mnie wchodzić głęboko w takie ciężkie stany postaci i tak samo z niej wychodzić. A poza tym tak, okej.
And just before a few months before the shooting of the film started, she opened a play, one-woman play, that required that was set in prison, as a matter of fact, about a young Russian girl who commits crime, and that was very taxing, and it was requiring from her a very deep dive into the dark side of the character, and that was happening every night when she was performing. So in a way, she had that advantage before jumping into that role.
I jeszcze chciałam powiedzieć to, że a jaki jest tego koszt? Nie wiem, no to mi się wydaje, że to okaże się po wielu latach, jaki jest tego koszt. Jakby na razie potrafię to robić i potrafię tak wychodzić jakby z tego bez alkoholu. Po prostu kończę spektakl i wychodzę z tej roli. I jakby nie czuję odciśniętego tego piętna na sobie póki co. Nie wiem, jak to będzie za bardzo wiele lat, ale na razie to jest coś, co naturalnie potrafię, skończąc spektakl czy film, wracam do rodziny i potrafię wyłączyć się z tego, że nie zostaje to we mnie.
I think, and she believes that the costs she will be counting later on when all these things, because it's very life is very intensive right now, and the performing and everything, and the costs will come, and she doesn't know how to assess them at this very particular moment, because now she can finish her job at night, get off the set, or finish the performance at the theater and come back. She's got a family, and she can, for the time being, she can separate the private life from work. But as you know, we are family. It is taxing, and I know the costs probably more than she does. I know but yeah, she keeps it. She holds it all together very well. But the family says, "Yeah, we noticed."
Thank you.
Thank you.
Babak,
Yes.
can you compare Canadian and Indian cinema? How they are alike or how they are different? and what we can learn from each other?
Oh wow.
Big question.
Do we have the time or? um, you know, we have this cliche, right, about Indian film because you know, is all Bollywood. Actually, I had an interview just this morning with a person with disability, and she interviewed me for the same question because she wants to promote, you know, disability here. She asked, you know, we need more filmmakers with disabilities to tell their own stories. In Canada, we just open. You know, Canada is a mixed country, right? Lots of Indians actually in Brampton, for example. I live in Toronto right now, but lots of people, lots of Indians there. My friend Jogesh is there, you know, and we talk about India a lot. But anyway, for the so it's different, I think. The perspective, the things are everything different. We don't make in Quebec. We don't make that many feature films. I think there's 30 every year. Here you have thousands. I think there's something we can learn from each other. I think definitely. For that, we need maybe to start more co-productions. The problem a little bit with co-production is you cannot get financing in Canada if the story only in Canada or only in India. So the characters has to travel and all the things. Other than that, is really starting promoting more more artistic things, less commercial. I think in India you have probably a lot commercials, and other movies are a bit hidden. But things are maybe changing, I think. And it's not AI that will change things, you know, it's people that will change things. This is my opinion.
Lake, the same question for you.
Well, I'll start. I have two things I'd like to say just
Yeah,
before
please,
I delve into that. First of all, I want to say that when I was looking in my mind, I had this kind of situation years and years ago, and I shared a table with Robert Lepage. You probably know Robert Lepage, the
Yes.
theater director, and it happened in Japan during the theater festival, a theater festival, and I think he was presenting Summer's Night Dream there, and my production was King Lear. But that was my first Canadian encounter, and the second was with the actor who played the lead. I can't remember his name now, in Jesus of Montreal, the film that really shook my mind and then hit me in the heart. I'm not sure if you remember. You know the leading actor in it.
Yeah.
Very-
Arcan is the director. It'll come back.
And Robert Lepage was in that film as well. He was also acting in that film. Robert Lepage was also playing a small part in that film.
Yes,
Yes.
definitely.
So,
Denis
From
so
Denis Arcand.
that's
Right.
my, apart from South Park, that's my kind of, and I met him on set in Agnieszka Holland's film Jolly Walking Home. I think I can't remember, so many years back. And when it comes to Indian cinema, we had with Alicia this plan some years ago, that we would try to find an agent in Bollywood, because we saw some films. You know how you come to know Indian cinema first, on long haul flights. And you see the Indian section there, you open it and you think, yeah, that's colorful, that's epic, we want to be part of it. And but we never actually did anything to do it. Now we are in Goa, maybe somebody out there will see a potential in all of you, all of us. I think I would love the Indian experience. I don't think we have in Poland, in the Polish cinema industry, the potential for such epic filmmaking. The market is too small. The films are being made for the cinema release. They are there for 4 weeks. That's it. Usually, that's the average, I would say. And then after that, the platforms like Netflix or Amazon take over, or Polish couple of VOD and TVP, which is a Polish television, they take over, and it's being distributed by. So the money is not there. We don't have that many people in our country to watch our Polish products, although on Netflix at this stage, because I think the quality of our filmmaking is quite good. There's no complaints there, but the outreach is basically judged by the platforms.
Yeah.
No, And the festivals, thank God for festivals, for Goa and other festivals, we can reach out to people and we can meet you guys and we can be here and share our cultural experiences. But yeah, I think I envy you, Bollywood and Hollywood.
Me too.
And
It's so
everything. I
colorful
envy
and
that,
big.
and I envy the colors, colors of India. We don't have it. Polish cinema, not our film. Variaci, Loonies are quite colorful, and they have this underlayer of red, which symbolizes love. Yeah, and lots of. But mostly Polish films are grayish in the color, and they are sad. And I must
Same
say,
in
I'm not
Quebec.
into it. I don't delve into it. We are preparing a new feature film with Alicia. We'll be shooting it next year, and I promise you, it will be colorful, and we'll come back here with a beautiful film full of love and color.
Jeszcze chciałam coś powiedzieć, że przypomniałam się teraz, że kiedy byłam młoda, to filmem mojego życia z Sylwią było czasem słońce, czasem deszcz. To jest właśnie
And
indyjski film.
when Alicia,
Ja to kochałam na maksa, widziałam to mnóstwo razy.
Alicia says that when she was young, the film of her life was sometimes it rains, sometimes sunshine. I can't remember the.
Kabikushi, kabikami, to something like that. To jest
And that was her favorite film of all times
Widziałam
at
go
that
10
stage, and she
razy.
saw it about 10 times. Yeah. So
Babek,
yeah,
Babek.
O, wtedy wszystko, no był taki kolorowy, piękny, tam były piękne kreacje kobiety i mężczyzny i no tańce, kolory, wszystko. muzyka.
basically everything. Colors, the create like the performances of the,
Karola.
of course, the male leading actor, and you name it, she loved it.
Yes,
We have one
my
question
question
from
to
audience. Yeah.
Babek.
Yes.
My name is Praveen. As
to
a
meet you.
director, what is your point of view about Indian cinema?
You know, I'm a cinephile. So, and I think I'm a time in my life where I want to explore again, going back to the film that I love. The problem with film, there are so many now, and they're talking people and, you know, media, I think, are always talking of the new movies that come out. So you always, you know, late at, oh no, I should see this one. And the list grows up and grows up. And a few years ago, I said, you know, it's so sad because, for example, I haven't seen again Satyajit Ray's movies that I was watching 30 years ago. And I'm in the process of going back. So I can really not answer your question because I said, no, finish. You know, I don't want new movies again. You know, I have this long list of old movies, maybe the 100 best. I saw recently Dreyer, you know, movies are dead. I want to see Kurosawa's film. I want to see again, you know, Satyajit Ray's movie. So no, for a couple of years, 2-3 years, I don't want new movies anymore. And also, I have my daughters. I have one 17 years old and one 14 years old, and I want to educate them with all these old classics. And I'm thankful because we gave them. They go to Waldorf school. I've heard they're Indian also. They know about Waldorf school. They're going to a Waldorf school. So we introduced them very late to medias. You know, my daughter, for that 17 years old, she just got her iPhone. This was her first phone. Usually TV for the 14 years old is once a month. So they're open-minded completely. You know, their mind is clean. And so it's good to introduce, you know, these old black and white movies. Voilà. You're welcome.
Any more question?
Strong signature style. Can you hear me?
Yes.
So, what was the brief he gave you to the actors, and what was it that you, as actors, brought to the screen, the distinct feature from what Polski briefed you about?
Nie zrozumiałam pytania.
Co, jak wprowadził nas Kolski do swojego, bo on ma bardzo specyficzny
Aha.
styl swój.
Tak.
I co powiedział nam przed robieniem tego filmu?
Okej, to zacznij. Ja pomyślę.
I've been a fan of Jan Jakub Kolski's films for a very long time, since his John the Waterman, Jan Przewodnik, which brought him so many awards around the world. And well, and I could name the films in the Polish titles. They are very specific, so I'm not sure if they would be translated into English by me correctly. However, Jan insists on one thing and repeats it every time he sets out to make a new movie, that he's out there to make a new step and find a new language and to keep in touch with the world, even though still keeping his stylistic integrity. And I believe he got a little bit lost in the last couple of films, that the language and the language he chose for telling the stories wasn't compatible with his own artistic vision, and he didn't fail. No, it's not a failure, but in his own eyes, those films took him astray. And he said that now he's trying to marry the old world of himself, of his own soul, with the new. And I call it Loonies is like a Kolski / Jarmusch / road movie cinema. It's much more colorful than Jarmusch, but it has a Jarmusch kind of approach to certain sequences. And I think he's on a very good way. And there is good old Kolski in this film, which I think he's in a way lost in the couple of films before, and now he's coming back, and I can't wait to see. It's his 21st feature film, and 19th, or maybe that's 19th, and he will make. He said, "I've got only 21 films in me, so he's got 2 more to make, and I can't wait for the next 2."
I Jan jest taką osobą, która bardzo dokładnie wie, czego chce, i osobą, której trzeba zaufać. Jan ten film napisał, Jan ten film wyreżyserował i Jan ten film produkował. I dobrze wie, czego mu od nas potrzeba, i potrzebuje zaufania. I tak jak wczoraj mówiła mi jedna dziewczyna, czy ten film jest w dużej mierze improwizowany, bo tak naturalnie gramy, ale to jest jego fraza, którą trzeba mówić, i Jan tego pilnuje. I to też bardzo chciałam powiedzieć, że ma genialne oko do aktorów, jest genialnym castingowcem i potrafi wybrać... przepraszam.
Jan is a total creator of his own movies. He wrote it, he directed it, he produced it, co-produced it, and by trade he's a cinematographer. Therefore, he also, when he chooses a cinematographer, he knows what he wants, always knows what he wants, and also the language that he uses and chooses for actors is his own language, and you have to speak his phrase, which is funny. And yesterday, Alicia mentions that yesterday one of the viewers asked, was it improvised, the film, because it looks so natural? And no, it wasn't improvised. Everything happened to Jan's ticking metronome. He is very specific, but he's also a very good, he doesn't use casting directors. He chooses actors himself. And for him, when he chooses an actor, he knows the way of speaking, the phrase. I mean, he's got a very good ear. So, and the key word that Alicia is using is trust. You have to trust Jan. If you don't trust him, it won't work. And Jan has to earn that trust. That works both ways.
Thank you. Due to paucity of time, we cannot take any more questions. These films show the pain of migration, employment, and helplessness. We hope that these films and art of cinema will definitely help us create a better and inclusive world. I thank you on behalf of whole IFFI team and Press Information Bureau. We have a small token of gratitude for all our guests. Thank you. Thank you.